everybody, it's MicheleMarieDalene here, and Mary me to you. We got a lot to talk about. And, unfortunately, I came back. I was looking at some videos before I started this, and I know I said that we're going to try to get this out to you tonight. So, first of all, I wanted to let you know how I went with going to Mass, because I thought it was, to be honest with you, I thought it was really, the priest is a younger priest than the original one that was, did my confirmation and first communion, which was Father Leon. Not this as a younger man. I don't know who it is. I think it's Father Dennis. I think that's who it is. Now, I am a little bit behind in church events. Yeah, what? Let's get, huh? Okay. I'm a little bit behind in church events, so I don't have all the information about how much things have changed in the church. I really had some hard time hearing the cantor. I think might be more of my ears than their sound system, but I think they could use a little more volume. But it's hard when you're setting up a sound system for a public congregation that's just loud enough so that all the congregation can hear you, but not so sensitive and so loud that its own microphones pick up and then feedback everything in a feedback loop, which is really, really absolutely positively irritating to go through that with the sound. They had these little brochures instead of the old missals they used to have. So they didn't have the missal that I could read through from beginning to end to refresh myself. There was that made it a little harder because I couldn't follow along with the readings as well as I'd like to. I really did enjoy myself, but I really kind of felt like that somehow I felt like I wasn't getting the full experience because of me hearing loss. Well, maybe if I go a few more times in the next few weeks, because it is actually preparing for Lent. I think I mentioned that once before, and I do want to talk to the priest. I want to try to call the church office and see if I can sit down with him and talk to him about my experiences. It's been actually, last time I was at St. Joseph's was around a long time. A really long time. I think I was there. Well, let's see. I was there before I moved to Torrington. Then when I moved to Torrington, I never did, and I came back once. I never did go back to church. Oh my God, it's a long time. Long time. So really, really kind of a shame. But maybe we can make it right. Now, I mentioned this morning that I was writing a letter at the suggestion of Nick DeBassi, from the Housing Authority of which deals with Winston, which is J.D. Amelia and Associates. My case manager suggested that she wants to proofread it first to see what she thought of the letter. And I mentioned to you that I would read it to you on the air. Are you purring on my microphone again? Come on, cat. Alright, so I'm going to read you the letter. This is pretty much just as it is. So it's not going to change much, okay? It says, to whom it may concern, my name is MicheleMarieDalene. Around the end of October of 2015, my apartment was up for re-inspection for the new annual Section 8 review. Because of several factors, things didn't go so well at the time. I have autistic spectrum disorder. Things were a mess as my voucher was in jeopardy due to a contractor that took a bit longer to fix an error created by the architect. We got the work done in late September. However, both my landlord and myself were heavily under stress. Tempers ran warm to hot. He was frustrated at all of the issues of building permits and inspectors from the Winston House fire marshals and building inspectors' offices. Just as I was frustrated at sleeping on the floor at the Yellow House since March of 2015, until occupancy permit was reissued on October 15th, 2015. I just wanted to be back in my warm, lumpy bed again. But as Wandy can confirm, things were up in the air as my voucher was at the risk of lapsing, no fault of me or my landlord. There were some administrative errors that the Winston fire marshal was not aware of, that he had to get a letter to Daystar for the re-inspection. After my landlord and I contacted him, he immediately sent the letter, which was needed document to get an inspection. My landlord was tired and stressed and just wanted to get things back to normal quickly, as did I. However, that didn't happen, as I explained in my YouTube video, which was a vlog, and you can actually watch it. It was around early or late October. With all the stress going on, we were all ready to snap. And we had a timeout. We would have been better able to handle this young inspector's behavior. Sadly, we overreacted. Now I am short on my bills. Not the rent, however, as I paid that first. However, both my landlord and myself would like to return to the program if we can. I know my voucher was given out, but again, I was a bit overwhelmed at the time. I felt I was just a pawn in an elaborate chess game where I didn't even know if I had a home or not. I just wanted to get home and get my life back together. A good part of this is a part of my autistic spectrum disorder, formerly known as Asperger's. We hate confrontation and uncertainties. While I cannot speak for my landlord, he was under a huge load of stress too. I cannot afford to move, as I explained in my letter. I don't have the resources to do so. In short, could I, pretty please, get my voucher back? I need it so bad as my bills are falling behind. Thanks in advance, MicheleMarieDalene. Now, that's the letter that is probably going to be going out to the housing authority, and we're going to see what it goes on. And, yeah, I definitely think it would be wonderful to get my voucher back. Now, tomorrow, I had a chance to look at the weather forecast, and it seems that there has been some slight changes in the forecast. But not much. It's going to be getting colder, and it's going to potentially get up to 5 centimeters of snow. 5 to 7 centimeters of snow. That means that you can expect that the soup kitchen may not be open tomorrow. Maybe it will be. I don't know. I have to see when the snow's going to start. If we're lucky, the snow starts in the evening, and then everything will be okay for tomorrow anyway. On Tuesday, it says it's going to snow some more, and then of course Wednesday it's going to snow some more. So it's kind of interesting to see. Not only is it going to be getting colder for the next week, it's going to be snowing. Likely for the next 3 days. Yeah, very interesting. Now, the way, forgive me guys, it's been a long day. I've been up looking at things on the computer pretty much all day, and I just kind of got a chance to kind of get my head together. But it's kind of interesting to point out that as much as it's really kind of a lucky thing that my brother Jesus is behind me 100%, and is being there to support me through thick and thin. I so much want to be a part of the world. And I have to admit, like I said, oh sorry, this is a little turn. It's just, I have to admit, it was a little bit of a challenge to hear the Mass. But I did do my best I could to hear it. Some priests are great speakers. And some priests are soft-spoken. This new priest is in the soft-spoken category. And it's not his fault. It's just the nature of the priest. Whereas, I've been in many churches where the priests have really have demonstrated the ability to project themselves throughout a congregation with and without amplification, and can be heard all the way in the back of the church to all the way in the front of the church. And I have to admit, it was nice to be in the church again, but I was so nervous because I haven't been there in so long, and some of the changes in the church were a little bit excessive. Okay? And I think it was a wonderful experience to receive the body of Christ. I did not have the blood of Christ. I did not drink the blood of Christ. I didn't think they offered it tonight anyway. Some parishes do, some don't. So, I wasn't so concerned about having the blood of Christ. I was just relieved to be able to have the body of Christ. That was fine. I felt good. And I look so much up to getting myself back into that experience of the sacrament of Holy Eucharist, and it's important to me. Now, so back to the letter. Is this going to change the things for me in Section 8? I can't really say yes. Just like Nick Bayesi said, chances are slim to none, but the heck with it. I'll try it. At the very least, maybe I'll be put on the top of the list for a new voucher when an option becomes available. Until then, I'm pretty much just going to have to just muddle through like everybody else does, and hope it works out for me and Dory and whoever. So that's all I can do, Alright, so I think that's about it. Oh yeah, as soon as the new gizmos come, what am I going to test over here right now? Yeah, my right eye is, it varies. Some days it does better, some days it doesn't do good. I did this earlier, But I'm trying, I remember I'm looking at the, yeah, you don't know what I'm doing, I'll explain this in a second. Basically, I'm using my fingers as an aperture and an iris and a lens to see if I can focus a bit better on the reels. And I can see, without focusing on it, that the reels are not got as much double vision anymore. But the lights are still got a bit of a morning glory on my right eye. But that's not going to change anywhere in the near future. But maybe it will. Keep taking the eye drops for a few years. Maybe. I think my eyes have made a positive change. Yeah, definitely. Not getting so much doubleness anymore, are you? No, not really. I can still see. I'll do a bit of once. I know I'll do a bit of once my eyes keep taking the eye drops. And that's something we gotta remember, guys. With the cancer eye drops, they're not instant gratification. They're not going to make your vision 20/20 in 5 minutes or anything like that. It could take a long time, depending on the severity of cataract. In some cases, if the cataract's really bad, it may not make a change at all. But then again, if the cataract is just starting to go bad, then it may have a fighting chance to dissolve it. Like I did with my right eye, my left eye. My left eye was starting to get cataract, and of course, the cancer eye drops was right on top of it. And that made a difference for me, and in a positive way. So, all the things going on in my life. Okay, now wait a minute. Let's talk about one thing before we forget. Yeah. Tomorrow is around 2 o'clock. I'm supposed to go with my case manager to get my ID card. I have the material all together. I have all the documentation together and everything. But depending on the weather, depending on the circumstances, things could get sidelined. I hope not, but you never know. And so that's all I can do is just hope that things work out for me and get my ID card so I can vote in the elections. There's so much I want to do to vote for the candidate that I feel is best qualified. But I know how the electoral college works. It's a dog and pony show. And that's probably how the Democrats are going to make sure to force in Hillary Clinton is by pushing the electoral college to represent the votes more for Hillary Clinton than anyone else. Okay. I don't know anything else about the other candidates, but I know that Hillary Clinton would be a disaster. Sanders, I don't know anything about Sanders to really say one way or another, and the Democrats. Ted Cruz, the Republicans, is a firebrand, and he's I don't know. He's just a firebrand. Rubio, I don't really know. Peterina, I don't really know her very well either. I tried to understand a little bit about her, but I don't know much about her. I know that she kind of wanted to be able to be in the New Hampshire debate, even though she was kind of weeded out. Not because she was a woman, but because she was not a top contender. And so that's where we go right now as far as the election goes and stuff. And let's say, okay. I'm sorry about that. I gotta start yawning. I really am tired. One more thing is, as soon as we get the new stuff coming in, the new hardware and stuff like that, we will be doing some reviews and evaluations of the different things. And because of the way if this UVC board works the way I think it does, I'm going to be able to set up one of the cameras here to allow us to do our videos on the other Mac. Yeah, that's cool. Which computer you're going to hook it onto? And which camera? I think for easy sake, I'll probably hook up the CB234 because the fact is, you couldn't plug the other camera in somehow. I probably could, but it might get a little messy. Okay, I'll give you that. Okay. We'll have to see how that goes. But I really kind of definitely do want to try out that. And I'm also definitely going to try out the PAL, the NTSC converter box, because so another reason why I might rising out the old CB234 is to see how the CB234 deals with the being connected up to the PAL converter to or this camera here connected to the a couple ideas, swap a few of these around and see how it works, and that's what we're gonna do. And also, of course, is I was thinking about we're talking about power consumption. And I said to Lummy, I said, one of the things is we're talking about a website is, why couldn't we set a website up on a Raspberry Pi? It sounds like a perfect computer for a website because, number one, it's physically small. Okay? Number two, it doesn't draw a lot of current. Okay? Number three, it can be powered off a 6-volt battery. Or 3 nickel metal hydrates, okay, with a large enough capacity charging circuit, so that the computer could be online and running and functioning 24/7 for about 5 watts of power, which is pretty good for what I need it for, okay. And the the Raspberry Pi, Arduino, I must throw that in there. It's physically small enough that it's not going to be a major obtrusive, big, boxy box laying on the floor. And so that's what I'm thinking about in the near future, is to set up a Arduino or Raspberry Pi to maintain my website. So that instead of having a full Linux machine, well, it's physical whirling, spinning hard drives, you just got, say, 32 gigabyte SD card with they call it Raspbian, which is really Debian for Raspberry Pi. But I don't need the graphical user interface. That's just well, yeah, actually I could, but I don't need to install. I can't not install GNOME anyway, because GNOME is using the same design as all the other computers I had. Okay, Jesse, which is Linux 8 series, has been ever since they did something to GNOME. They messed up GNOME so bad. It's a GNOME problem. And it doesn't work no matter what you do. The predecessor to Jesse, which is Wheezy, GNOME worked fine. I don't know what they did on it to kill it. But as far as I'm concerned, that's a major, major disappointment. I know everybody wants to talk about Wheezy, which is a 7.0 series of Debian as OBS and all that. But you know what? If your browser for GNOME is so foobar that you can't do anything with it, then what's the point of releasing it as a working distribution? I have looked online to find out if there's any causes why the Debian doesn't work. You think since I did a full install of Debian installation package for GNOME, that it would have been some clue somewhere of what's wrong. But it doesn't seem to be any kind of clue what's wrong with it. So that kind of sucks because I really wanted to use it. But if you can't use it because the GNOME is all messed up, then you need to come up with a better way of doing things. Yeah. Also, by the way, one of the nice things about using the Raspberry Pis, as I said, it's a small box. You can actually, how big is it? I'm trying to think. It's not that big. No. It's like it's about the size of a cassette tape box, isn't it? About that. Yeah, about the size of yeah, I think so. Point is, it's small enough. Okay? Some of them, I think the Raspberry Pi I'm looking at is the one that has a USB keyboard and mouse like that. Plus, it has Ethernet port on it. Plus, it has composite and it has HDMI. Now, the HDMI is great if you got HDMI TV. I don't, okay? But if you install the noob for Raspberry, a thing called noob. I don't really know what noob stands for, but here's the point. It has built-in support for composite television, which means that if everything is fairly up to code and the Raspberry Pi is configured right, you can use the same Raspberry Pi as something similar to a Roku box. If you can find a copy of Flash or Chromecast, or Chrome to run on the Raspberry Pi, you could set up new Netflix. Okay, you can run Hulu Plus. And that's something to think about, and so the Raspberry Pi I'm looking into is got a 4-core processor and it's got a gigabyte of RAM. And to me, that's useful information because, I don't know everything about how this works. All I know is that I priced it out there. I can get an entry-level Raspberry Pi system. Maybe not the very latest model, but I can get one like an A or B model. Or maybe not the B plus, or maybe not the A plus, but maybe just A or B. If I want to go for cheaper, 512 megabytes of internal RAM for about $20. It's not cutting edge; it doesn't come with a case. But a good thing is it will come with is you will be able to enjoy a low cost, although very slow by today's standards, Raspberry Pi, so that you could. But if you're running a simple bulletin board anyway, I don't think it really matters how fast it is. It's just not going to change. Okay, if your bulletin board, your website is anything like mine, it's all text. Okay, and an FTP site, and I don't think it's going to be so busy that people are going to be going crazy downloading bazillions of documents and things like that. One of the things I noticed is I have so many documents I've either downloaded or created over the years that I'd like to be able to share, especially documents I created, so that you can read them. Thus, the idea of having something like a Raspberry Pi, where you can basically, it's a small, tiny little computer. It can sit in the computer room. Maybe I can sip a little power off the same device that powers the modem. We're talking about very little power here. Take a 12-volt DC to 5-volt design voltage regulator and bring the voltage down and then feed into the Raspberry Pi. And the idea is by doing that, is the Raspberry Pi will be able to keep running. And because it uses very little power, it'll be there online doing all kinds of good stuff. How would that work, actually? Basically, you take the Belkin power supply, right? You bring the connection out to it. And since the Raspberry Pi doesn't need 12 volts, it's going to be wasting energy. So when it makes sense to maybe set up another power supply that's a little bit smaller, say about 6 volts, with a voltage regulator, so it won't have to get as hot. It's an idea, yeah. And then the idea is what the Raspberry Pi is that if it's got a battery backup supply, like I said, like 3 nickel metal hydrides. Please don't even suggest lithium ions, okay? I don't even want to go with lithium ion. For one thing, I don't have a charger. That I only understand a little bit about lithium ions enough to know that there are things about lithium ions that make me very nervous as far as working with them. What about nickel cadmium? Nickel cadmiums, lead acids. Nickel cadmiums become between the two. Nickel cadmiums are pretty good, but they do get memory effect if they're not fully discharged and recharged. But that's an idea. But the whole idea is that if you have a power supply that's big enough, the computer can keep running even when you are in lose power for days, as long as the main power supply is running. And maybe even if there's some way to, I do have the APC power supply, which produces 120 volts. But that's great, but I don't need to produce 120 volts just to run a little tiny power cube just to produce 5 volts DC. That's like a bunch of steps you don't need. All you really need is something similar to the Belkin, which is consists of a 12 volt DC battery, a 12 volt or 100 mains powered to 12 volt charging circuit. And when it mounts this battery, which is a standard sealed lead acid, and then after it, it keeps charging the battery as needed, and otherwise it provides power to the to the 12 volt supply device. That's fine. There's no reason to go with these crazy setups. Right. And that's an idea too. Now, by the way, would it be necessary to have a regulated power supply for the computer? According to what I've read, the answer is it's highly recommended to have a power supply that maintains the computer power supply close to 5 volts instead of having one that's going to be non-regulated. So, especially if you start plugging in things like USB devices. Because if you don't have a regulated power supply, it's gonna dip. It's gonna fall behind the voltage cutoff point. Right. But I don't know when that's gonna be. But it's an excellent idea. But I think more and more that, again, I'm going to go into Raspberry Pi design. I have got to get a couple of things together to make it worthwhile. And so I'm going to look into it because I like to save as much money as I can in my power bill. And so that's what I'm going to do. But for right now, I'm going to talk to you soon. And again, please do not forget to stay warm, stay safe, stay dry, especially since tomorrow is going to be cold and wet. So please, take the time to be safe, okay? That's what the Weather Channel says. Is that still going to be the case for tomorrow? I can't tell you. But if you want to call the Soup Kitchen on Wednesday, if you are not sure if the Soup Kitchen's open, and you're in the Winston area, and you need to call to see if they're open, the phone number is area code 860-738-2449. That's 860-738-2449. If you get an answering machine starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, the Soup Kitchen is not open. If you get a human being, more than likely will probably be Dee Dee. Just let her know I see you, or just go and see if the Soup Kitchen was open. That's all. And that's cool. Because I can't tell what's going to happen tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to go down and get my ID card. As I said with Crystal, the case manager. So I'm going for the verified one. So I got all the documents together for that. And that's it for now. So I'll talk to you later, okay? See you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, did you know there's a lot more going on right now at our websites? Are you watching all 4 of them? If not, check them out. There's a list right here. We got 3 YouTube channels and 1 audio-only channel for your enjoyment. So come on, dig in and see all the stuff we do here at the North American Snow Queen Palace.